Hello soul buddies, hi and welcome back to the channel. If you're just joining us here for the very first time, you're most welcome. My name is Joy and I am the tutor and the convener for this channel, Uwe by Anguli. Here on this channel we are all about sewing, pattern making, the business of dressmaking, and how to make money online with your sewing skills. In today's video we'll be learning how to make this 3-tier circle skirt with an elastic band, and it also has a belt. Without wasting much of our time, let's jump right in. I'm using a fabric of 5.5 yards. I'll need a tape, my scissors, and of course my chalk. Yeah, I've gone ahead to lay out a fabric of 34 by 34 inches, which is exactly what I'll be needing for my first layer. I've gone ahead to cut out that fabric 34 by 34 inches. That's a square. And then after doing that, you want to go ahead and fold your fabric into 4 like so. When you've folded your fabric into 4, the next thing you're going to be doing is to cut out your radius, the radius of this circle. Remember, this is going to be a circle skirt, so I got my radius by dividing my waist. My waist is 30. I divided it by 6.28 and then multiplied it by 2 and then just approximated it to the nearest whole number, which is 10. So I'm using a radius of 10 for all the 3 layers for this skirt. So here for this first layer, I'm marking out my radius of 10 inches like so, and I'm just going to do that round this point. Remember, if you're a beginner, you do not want to move your tape. You just want to keep your tape at that pivot point like so and just move it around. Then after that, I'm just going to go ahead and link this, and then the next thing I'm doing here is to mark out my 7 inches. I'm using 7 inches for the first tier, so the length of the first tier is 7 inches, which is exactly what I'm doing like so. So I'll also go ahead and link this together, and then with my scissors I'm going to go ahead and cut this like so. After the first tier, the next thing I'm going to be working on is the second tier. So like you have seen, after the first tier, I'm going to be going ahead to work on the second tier. For my second tier, I'm using a fabric of 46 inches by 46 inches, and I'm just going to be doing the same thing I did for the first tier. After that, I just folded into 4, marked out my radius of 10 inches. I'm using 10 inches radius for the 3 tier because I want them to be exactly the same at the waist. So here I've marked out my 10 inches, and then I'm just going to link it like so. The length for the second tier is 13 inches, of course. So here I'm marking out 13 inches, moving my tape around my radius and just marking my 13 inches like so. After I've done that, I'm also going to go ahead and link it like I did for the radius, and after that I'm going to go ahead and cut that out just like we did for the first tier. So this is just like a bigger size of exactly what we did for the first tier. Now this is the second tier. Going on to the third tier, I'm using a fabric of 58 inches by 58 inches. Now because my fabric is not too wide, I cut this out in 2 places. That's half of that circle. Because my fabric is by 46, is not too wide, that's why I cut it in 2 places. So I've gone ahead to mark out my radius just like I did for the other 2 tiers, the other 2 steps, and then I'm using a length of 19 inches. So that is exactly what I'm marking out right now. I'm marking my 19 inches length, exactly what I did for the first and the second one, but with different measurements. So after that, I'm just going to go ahead and link this like so. After linking it, then going in with my scissors, I'm going to cut this out like so. After cutting it out, the 3 tiers are ready to now be stitched in on the sewing machine. So like you see, this is what the 3 tiers look like. This is the second and this is the first tier together. Now I just picked one of the tier, which is the first tier, to measure out the waist, and it gave me a 34 inches. So you just multiply it by 2, which is 68. So here I'm cutting out a band of 68 plus 2. I'm adding 2 for the allowance. 68 inches, which approximately plus 2 is 70 inches. So I'm cutting a band of 68 inches by 5. 68 inches by 5 inches. So that's what I'm cutting. Basically I'm using 5 because the size of my elastic band is 2 inches. So when you fold the 5, when you fold it, is going to give you 2.5. The extra half inch there is for our allowance. for the allowance. So the size of my elastic band is 2 inches and the allowance is 0.5. So that's why I cut out a 5 inches. So when you fold it, it's going to give you 2.5. So yeah, I've cut out my elastic band. The next thing I'm going to be working on is the belt of this skirt. For the belt, I'm using a length of 55 and then I'm using a width of 4 inches for my length. So I'm gonna head to fold it. Remember, the belt is going to be in 2 places, that's why I'm cutting 2. So yeah, I'm just marking out 3 inches for the smallest part and then slant it at the edge and just, you know, link it and cut it like so. Now after cutting my band, I'm just going to blend this in, you know, with the rule, just to blend it so that it blends in nice. I don't want the two sides to be equal. Yeah, I've just slashed open the other side. Now it's time for stitching. I'm starting with the hem of my first circle. So yeah, I'm just sewing the hem. I'm doing a row hem. So first of all, if you don't have a row hem foot, what you want to do basically is to stitch it first, stitch it down round, you know, with a little stitch, and after that you fold it again the second time. That way it gives you a good hem that doesn't have any squeeze and all. After you've done this, the next thing you want to do is to give that hem a good press. So I've gone ahead to do that off camera, and here I've joined the 3 steps together. So these are the 3 circle skirts and I just pinned it at the waist part. So yeah, what I'm doing basically is to just join the 3 of them together. I've placed them the way it's going to be and then just join it together. So that's basically what I'm doing, joining it at the waist. I'm joining the 3 of them at the waist at this point. So after joining it at the waist, the next thing I'm going to be doing is to bring in the band for this skirt. Remember, it's going to have an elastic, so we are not going to be gathering it first. We want the elastic to gather everything, so that's why I'm sewing the band all through without gathering the skirt first. So the band and the waist of the skirt is going to be the same length. That's why the band is that long. So yeah, I'm sewing in the band. The first thing I did is to sew in the band right sides to wrong sides of the skirt. The right side of the band to the wrong side of the skirt. You want to sew that down. After sewing it, I started from the center back, and yeah, I've just gone ahead to seal that like so, seal it down and trimmed off the excess. So after sealing it, I'm just going to trim off the excess like so, and then sew my band. This is my belt, sorry. Now this is the belt. I'm stitching the belt. After doing that, I'm just going to flip it to the right side, give it a good press, and then come back to stitch it on the band. Now this is a trick to get a very neat band. You want to fix your belt before sealing the band. Some people fix the belt after fixing the elastic, and you know, that's like the last step they do, but I feel this is easier and this is better and gives a nice and a better finish. So yeah, I'm just closing the up part of that belt, and then I'm just going to fix it, leaving a 0.5 inch seam allowance on that band. So that 0.5 inch seam is just for closing up the band. So you are fixing the belts on the side seams of this skirt. Remember, this skirt is just circle, it doesn't have any joining, so you just find one place and call it your side seam. So because my last year, that's the biggest year, had a joining, I made that joining to be the back, and then from that center back I was able to find the side seam. So yeah, I've gone ahead to join in my band. Is not my belt. It's now time for me to close up my band. Starting from the center back, I'm closing up my band like so, making sure that at the end of the day the size of the band is exactly 2 inches, because that is going to be the size of my elastic. You do not want your band to be smaller than 2 inches. If at all it's going to have any difference from 2 inches, it should be a little bit bigger than 2 inches. Instead of it to be smaller, please let it be bigger than the size of your elastic band, whatever size of elastic band you're going to be using. So yeah, this is me sealing the band. You know, after sewing in the belt, I'm sealing the band like so all the way through to the center back. Now when you get to the center back, you don't need to seal it close because you need a space where your elastic is going to come through. So here I left a space of 2 inches. That is where I'm going to be passing my elastic through. I didn't seal that space because I need it for passing my elastic. Now coming down to the elastic, my waist is 30 inches. So what I just did for the elastic is 30 minus 5, which is 25. I'm using an elastic length of 25 inches, and of course the width of the elastic is 2 inches. So now I went in with a safety pin so that I'll be able to guide my elastic through into this channel, the channel of the band. And then before you do that, you want to pin the other edge of the elastic band to your skirt so that it doesn't snap and go inside. So yeah, I'm just passing my elastic through this band channel, passing it through from center back all the way to the other side of the center back. If you're enjoying this tutorial so far, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button, like this video, share it with your friends, turn on the post notifications so that you get notified whenever we post new videos. So now after doing that, the next thing I'm doing is to just pull it out from the same opening with which I passed through. And after pulling it out like so, I'm done with my safety pin, and then I'm just going to stitch this out with something similar to a zigzag stitch. So yeah, I'm just mimicking a zigzag stitch, and I'm just stitching it so that it is firmly secured and it doesn't cut inside my band. So yeah, after that I'm just going to pull it so that it's evenly distributed. I'm pulling, and when I've gotten something that looks evenly distributed, it's now time to seal that space, that opening where I passed my elastic through. So yeah, I'm sealing that space, and after that your skirt is basically ready. So this is what it looks like at the end. I hope this tutorial was very beneficial to you. Thank you so much for watching up to this very point. I hope you do like it. Thank you so much, and see you in my next one. Bye.